Hello everyone. So today in this video we are going to discuss about ionic polymerization. So in the previous video we looked into details of the free radical polymerization. So in this video we will be concentrating on ionic polymerization. So ionic polymerization, if you look into, it consists of basically two types, that is the cationic polymerization as well as the anionic polymerization. These are the two types of ionic polymerization that is used in the polymer industry. Now, if we look at the introduction of this particular topic, we find that ionic polymerization, an important difference that you find from the free radical polymerization is the presence of counter ions. That is easily expected. So let me show you here an example. So this is a kind of monomer when it reacts with the kind of initiator, here in this case boron trichloride, which is a Lewis acid. So it generates a carbocation, okay? And when the carbocation is generated in the process, we have a counter ion which is negatively charged, and this maintains the electrical neutrality in the system. Okay, so therefore an important species that you find in ionic polymerization is the presence of counter ions because of the generation of charged species. So as the name suggests, we have cationic polymerization. So in those, cations would be the main species and the counterions would be your negatively charged species. And in the anionic polymerization, negatively charged carbon anions would be your main species and the counterions would be a positively charged ion. Okay, so therefore, in ionic polymerization, the presence of counterions, they are also called Jejunians. Okay, and their involvement is very important when it comes to the study of these ionic polymerization. So as you can see here, it is written here that influence of like these counterions kind of influence the polymerization mechanism. So in your syllabus, we have to look into not only the types of polymerization, but also on the mechanistic aspect. So we did that for the free radical polymerization. Same we are going to do even in the ionic polymerization. So here, an important thing that you have to keep in mind is that the presence of counterions greatly influences the polymerization mechanism. Okay, and why it influences? Because these counterions can be strongly or weakly associated with the propagating chain, because we know it is an ionic polymerization. So propagating chain will have either will be either a positively charged or either a negatively charged chain. So the association of the counterion with these propagating chain can influence a lot on the mechanism that a particular ionic polymerization follows. So because they involve the ions, we know if solvents can also play a great role, because if ionic species are present, obviously there would be something called solvation effect. So depending upon the dielectric constant of the solvents used for the polymerization process, we can influence on the rate of the polymerization and thereby have an effect on the mechanism of the polymerization. Now, these ionic polymerization are kind of more complex than the free radical polymerization, because as you are going to learn into the mechanism of the ionic polymerization, you will find that there are many factors that influences the rate of the reaction. Okay, which if you compare with the free radical polymerization, that is pretty less. However, these ionic polymerization are more versatile. Versatile means they are more reactive in terms of the monomers that can be used for carrying out the polymerization process. They are more versatile. Apart from that, there is a lot of steric control that we can have based upon the cationic stability. So Steric control is one versatile factor. Another versatile factor is that in ionic polymerization, like free radical polymerization, it is free radical polymerization. If we look into, it's limited to vinylic polymerization. Okay, but the ionic polymerization can be used to polymerize, to form, can be used to synthesize polyethers from cyclic ethers, then polyamides using lactams, then polyesters using cyclic lactones, and then polyethers again from the aldehydes and ketones. So various monomer molecules can be used for polymerizing to get different polymers. So it is not um, kind of reduced or limited to only vinylic polymerization, but you can do polymerization of other monomers as well. And therefore, you can have variety of polymers being made using the ionic polymerization. Now, when it comes to vinyl polymerization, the versatility that you find in the free radical polymerization is not found in the case of ionic polymerization. We can only use few of the vinyl monomers to do the ionic polymerization, because the reason behind is that when we are going to look into the mechanism, we'll find that when the initiator monomer complex is formed, uh, the, the, the formation or the rate of this initiator monomer complex is formed depends greatly on the stability of the carbocation. So the vinyl monomers that we are going to use in this polymerization need to have substituents that would be able to either stabilize the carbocation or be able to stabilize a carbon anion. So that's why we say that the versatility or the amount of monomers that can be used, that is the vinyl monomers that can be used, is very few in number, because we can choose only those monomers which kind of stabilizes the in situ generated carbocation or the carbon anion. So that is why this particular thing is said that very few number of vinyl polymerization can be done using ionic polymerization. Now further, uh, this thing I just now said, monomers must contain substituent capable of stabilizing either a carbocation or the carbon anion, depending upon whether it's a cationic polymerization or it is a anionic polymerization. And another important thing in terms of polymerization process, because apart from the polymerization mechanism, we have a polymerization process. Okay, the way it is done, and that involves bulk polymerization, and a lot of other type of polymerizations are involved in that. So if we use ionic polymerizations are usually limited to solution polymerization, and more kind of industry oriented bulk polymerization um, cannot happen when you use ionic polymerization. So that in a nutshell give you an idea about the ionic polymerization. Now, this is a table that kind of shows the different vinyl polymerization, okay, and how cationic polymerization can be used to synthesize these kind of polymers, and anionic polymerization can be used to synthesize these kind of polymers. So I would like you to go through them, okay, just to get a feel of what are all the monomers and the various polymers that are synthesized using cationic and anionic polymerization. Because when you write about these polymerization, it's always advisable to give certain kind of examples. Okay, so in that thing, the examples, giving examples would be always better when you write in your examination. So I hope this introduction gives you briefly an idea about what an ionic polymerization is and the importance of counterions and how it affects the mechanism, okay, and the versatility of the ionic polymerization in the way that it can not only go for vinyl polymerization, but other types of polymers like polyethers, polyamides, polyesters, okay, all these can be synthesized using ionic polymerization. So you also understood that since it involves the ions, solvents play an important role, because ions, wherever we talk about ions, we talk about solvation effects. Okay, so solvent also play a great role in the mechanism, how it affects the rate of a particular reaction. So in the next video, we are going to look into the cationic polymerization and talk about the mechanism associated with the same. So thank you very much for your attention.